awakening. Have you felt it? You are listening to Dark Matter Radio with your host, Ronnie. This is a new Thunder, Ronnie McLean for Live 365, Dark Matter Radio on our new platform. I'm just out here right now looking today at some of the beautiful greenery that springtime has given us. I'm looking at all the wonderful trees and the budding leaves. It's just beautiful. Just what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I mean, I know a lot of people are going through a lot of different things right now, especially after 2020 and all the things that happened there in the last 4 to 5 years. And a lot of things are being manifested. And this is one of the reasons why back in about 2015, 2014, 2012, I began to start talking about a change that was going on, or that is going on, and has been going on for quite some time. And that's the carbon-12, carbon-7 transformation. Everything on the planet is being affected. And you can't get away from it. Even as they begin or have been doing for the past 150 years, trying to make as much artificial substances as possible to put into your body, everything is being broken down to a lot of form of carbon. This is the reason why it's very important to understand the type of carbon that you have inside of you. Sulfuric melanin, carbon melanin. It is extremely important for us to have this understanding because a lot of times, we hear a lot of different type of information out there to get you onto the wrong path. So this is why I talk about this from time to time, to get everybody understanding that they have to begin to start thinking about who and what they are, and what they're truly made of, what they're truly capable of, and why they are here on this planet. The times that we are living in. Very important for us to begin to start thinking inwardly so that we don't become NPCs, non-player characters, so that we don't offer ourselves up to be soul scalped, as we're able to maintain the fluidity of what we have so that we can constantly keep and be able to hold on to our souls. A lot of souls being lost out there today. A lot of souls. You hear all this stuff about P. Diddy, Trump, Biden, Kamala Harris, whatever her name is. Beyonce, Shakira, you know, the old guards, Barbara Streisand, Diana Ross, James Brown. It's been going on for a very long time. So to further explain this, I want to introduce somebody that they sent over to me a clip from TikTok. Oh, don't listen to TikTok. Listen to everything that you can, because you have the power of discernment within inside of you. You have something that most other people on this planet don't have, which is a soul, which means that information comes to you readily. And this information is meant for you to hear. A member by the name of Clay sent this over to me. Very important. Take a listen.
Now, the light stats over in Spain and Portugal just recently went off due to a major power outage. Now, if you have been following me and checking out my lives, this is what I've been speaking on. I've been talking about the atmosphere, okay? And how the atmosphere is going to start changing up. And this, they already know that. Now, based off of the cardinal points due to the equinoxes that occur, which is your summer, spring, and fall, and winter equinox, it shifts the energy on the earth. And we're talking about an abundance of celestial energy that comes in charge of the atmosphere. The reason why all of these planes is falling out the sky is because the atmosphere is being charged up. And they know that once this atmosphere change, their electrical appliances, their guns, their bombs, and none of this stuff is going to work. Now, y'all remember the movie where Black Adam called their weapons weak magic? Because it's going to come a time where none of those things are going to work. And they're going to end up back at square one. Once the atmosphere completely shifts, the carbon beings is going to return back to their power.
Now, she mentioned that none of their weapons are going to work. That's because anything artificial on this so-called planet will not survive the transformation period. Won't be overnight. It's taking place, and it's been taking place for quite some time. She'll get into that. But nothing artificial will survive this. This is the reason why today you have to be very, very, very careful about putting your dogs outside. People are starting to get sunburned at night because of the UV rays that are penetrating or permeating from out of the earth itself. They don't know where all this stuff is coming from. And you see all the sights in the sound world. You see all the sights of the earth being bombarded by all of this energy. And a lot of this energy is happening on the quote-unquote night side. It's supposed to be flowing away. The earth is charging up. Everything is changing.
Your X-Men, meaning your Superman and your Superwoman, meaning your Avengers, all of these different superhero movies that Marvel talk about, it is you. And once the atmosphere change, you're going to return back to your power. And you got a lot of people like, well, why haven't our people rose up yet? Well, we haven't went through our transfiguration yet. Why would we rise up and we don't have weapons? See, they have weapons. But when this transformation take place, which is already in process, their weapons will become obsolete.
Now, again, when they begin to start talking about weapons, and part of their weapons biological, they're bioweapons, vaccines, and they need to interject these vaccines into you because they finally found a way to get into the cells of so-called African American black people, finally. And they're able to use what they call the AIDS virus to aid them into being able to trick the body to get in there. And then they line it with lipid fat nanoparticles. And these nanoparticles produce rods and tubes that further tricks the body as well. And it begins to start breaking down the very nature of what you are and making it artificial. Because they said they guarantee that this messenger RNA will not be able to transfigurate the DNA. And what they found out here lately, that is not the truth. It is not the truth. The messenger RNA, if it's active in the body for quite some time, will have a profound effect on the actual DNA itself because that's how it is operating. It's an operation or operating program to reprogram the system to be more artificial. And once you become more artificial, they're able to use sound waves, light waves, to be able to control you a little bit more. Or a lot more.
And our powers will return. And that's when we act, is when our powers return, which is happening now. Now check this out. It says the lights were out in Portugal and in Spain on Monday due to major power outages, but the cause is still under investigation. It says while earlier reports suggest a rare atmospheric phenomenon, right? It says the Guardian reports that a loss of power generation possibly from a solar plant triggered a large oscillation.
So now you have to understand that what she's talking about now is a situation where in Portugal, they finally turned over to all solar or free energy, as they would call it, and they had a major electrical upheaval. The whole entire country went black. And it spread into other European nations and other European countries, and it affected almost the whole entire European continent. And what they're trying to blame it on is that there is a phenomenon, something happened in the atmosphere where it got overcharged and zapped all the energy out of what they were doing. So that's what she's talking about. And this goes into the carbon 12, carbon 7 transformation as everything on the planet is changing.
The electrical network, causing a grid to disconnect from the European system. This led to a widespread outage across the countries. Now, understand what oscillation is. It means a charged up atmosphere. It means the atmosphere is charged. And I've been telling y'all that this atmosphere is charging up. And due to the atmosphere charging up, okay, it also caused the gravitational pull to thinning. And this is why your planes is falling out the sky, which is a major sign that the atmosphere is changed and it will continually to charge up. Now, keep in mind, y'all see these movies when the last days occur, what be the first thing that happen? The planes start falling out the sky. What's the second thing? The rapture. But what does the rapture mean? It is a Buddha word, which means PT, which means a rapture mindset. Okay, which means euphoria, which means an individual that has an overwhelming feeling of happiness, but also means an individual that's operating at a high level of consciousness. That's a raptured mindset, a God mind. That is getting ready to take place in the chosen, the heavenly creation, not the earthly creation, which is your Gentile and heathen nations.
So what she's talking about here, again, let's be very clear. This is the reason why I say people need to understand how they were created. What creation story do you fall in? All right? The majority of people on this planet, as we know right now, has been created by other created beings. So what they call the root race, and again, the root race comes out of what you call Kemet on the walls of Seti 1 and a lot of the other tombs, etc. The root race, there's many different types of root races, but the root race comes from the Tamahu, and that's the Tamahu, light, bright, and created ones, but the original Tamahu were the dark-headed ones. The original Tamahu were the dark-headed ones, and the dark-headed ones were who the Anunnaki came down here and they began their creation thing. I believe that there's a lot of different types of creations that been or has been going on, and they've been creating things in laboratories all over the place on this so-called planet. And you have different variations of the Tamahu, which was exactly described in the temples of Seti 1 and a lot of the other temples around the planet. And I believe that the original beings, when I say original beings, the beings that were made cosmically or from a cosmic presence that were able to be installed in a soul that had already been created into one of these biological unit suits, which are the original beings, of what they call human creation. And it's very important for us to understand that. Very important for us to understand that. So here we go with this. This is the reason why we have to be understanding where we come from as a being of people, right? Just because you have a very light skin tone or whatever the situation means, doesn't mean that you don't have the proper melanin to be able to hold a soul. Just because you are as dark or as black as as a piece of tar doesn't mean that you have the proper carbon to be able to hold a soul either. All right, because you have a lot of Indians and Africans that are as black as night that are considered white. And it goes into a lot of other different populations as well.
This is why they're trying to eliminate us. Okay, they're trying to remove us out of everything. They're trying to get rid of our history. They're trying to completely get rid of everything dealing with us. That's like with the Smithsonian. They are also trying to remove our artifacts out of there and erase our history. Okay, they know this time is coming. And even dealing with the King Alfred plan of how they are trying to eliminate the so-called African Americans, that's still underway. They're still trying to do that. So what y'all got to understand is they have been trying to eliminate us for a reason, because they know once this atmosphere shift, it's only going to be a certain type of people that's going to be able to rule and live in this atmosphere. And it is the carbon people. Y'all think this stuff is going on just only in Spain and Portugal. This is going to become a worldwide issue, because the atmosphere is changing and all of these appliances, even the grid, is going to eventually shut down, because everything is getting charged up, even the atmosphere, and is prepping and preparing for the gods to return. This is why they've been building these underground bunkers. Also, remember a few years ago, they gave out to each state them little phones for people to talk to when shit go down the grid, so that they can still communicate. They know what's getting ready to happen. Keep in mind.
Now, that's important, because what we just found out here recently through a Carlson Tucker interview is that the United States has been building underground bunkers or taking over underground bunkers since 1988. And in our economy, there is 21 to 22 trillion dollars that is missing. So you have to always, you always hear the rumors that they're building these underground bunkers, deep underground military bases, right? You also hear about all of these things about how they have roadways and railroad systems that can travel from New York to California in like 30 minutes. And transcontinental highways underneath the ground. Well, a lot of these things are true, and you see a lot of truckers that are driving through these underground tunnels. And it's very important for you to understand that whatever's going on, it's real. This is the reason why you have to detox, and make sure that you're getting the minerals that you need, the vitamins that you need, the exercise that you need, the air that you need, and putting yourself in a situation as to where you're going to be free of the system, because it's the system that is tying you into their dream, their creation, trying to make you a part of their creation, because they can't create, only you can create, because you have a creation soul. Not just the mindset, but you have a creation soul.
And it's probably going to be fairly new to a lot of you. But the age of Aquarius did not start in 2020. It started in the 1900s and it ended 2030. So we're in the end game for Christ to return. And this is why the atmosphere is shifting and getting ready.
Now, she mentioned that the age of Aquarius has started in the 1900s. It started a long time ago. And we are going into the end of this because, they changed a lot of their prescribed predictions and things that they want to do to 2030. Why did they ramp everything up so quickly? What do they know that we don't know? All I do know, what I do know is that I'm expecting over the next few years a lot of things to be
Yeah, my
happening.
one.
So that's the reason why we have to make sure that we ourselves are ready in terms of our own energy from within inside, because we are changing. We are the judges of this world. I'll get into that again at another time, but we are the judges of this whole entire world, and we're going to be the only ones that are going to be able to operate in plain sunlight, because it is now reprogramming us to be the species that we're supposed to be.
So she you. The powers that be know that it is coming a time where they're not going to be able to no longer rule on the surface. This is your Gentile and your heathen nations, the earthly creation. Not us, because we are considered your heavenly creation, the divine ones. We will have seniority. Now let me read off the scripture to you real quick. And no man might buy or sell unless they have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. That is 666, which is a 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons. The mark is carbon. And those who do not have carbon will not be able to rule this atmosphere. They will not have seniority. The power will be relinquished from them and returned back into the divine hands. Okay?
So when she says carbon, that's real carbon, because that's what the originals are made of. Real carbon, and that's us, right? Excuse me. And when she talks about the Christos or Christ energy, that Christos energy is you. It is within you. It's what's flowing through you. You are the return of the energy, of the original energy that was created to cause change in this whole entire, how can I say, the whole entire paradigm of universal paradigm that we exist in. See, once we flourish, we are going to be so bright that we are going to actually change this whole entire paradigm that we're into what it should have been originally, which is part of the pleroma, part of the divine creation energy. And all things will be transformed. And this is the reason why they say heaven and earth shall pass away, because we, the Metatrons, we will produce the judgment. The judgment is the transformation, bringing in a new transformative realm. Well, it's not even a new realm. We're bringing this into a state of energy where the whole entire cosmos can be connected into the realm of the Creator. Listen a little further.
So this is what that is talking about. If you don't have the mark, which is the carbon, you will not be able to sell nor buy anything. And they know this time is coming where the powers will be giving back over to the gods, and their time of ruling will be over with.
Now, she says gods, and a lot of people get this misconception, because when you begin to start talking about gods, you're actually really talking about people that created another people, right? We are not gods. We are creation beings. We are eternal beings. We are light beings. We are not gods. We're not out there creating anything. What we're doing is we are creating the change so that this whole entire paradigm can go back into what it was truly meant to be in the pure sense of creation. Yin and yang is very important. Female, male. There's a process to everything, including creation. And so this creation was created with just one divine energy, not both divine energy. So it needs male and female divine energy to come together in order for it to be able to be a proper source of creation. And that energy that we are the energy, the light bulb, the Metatrons, the judges that are going to light up and change the whole entire paradigm that we're in as a paroma energy, right? The purest energy that you can get. So we're going to be very high dimensional. And this is the reason why I say heaven and earth shall change.
Keep in mind, they said that Christ will come and rule for 1,000 years. That time is approaching. And when that time is over, keep in mind that your heaven and earth will soon pass away.
Now, I believe that this Christ thing has already came, and this is the reason why we have so many different magnificent buildings that they're trying to hide. I believe that they had already descended and released and let these fallen, quote-unquote, angels from wherever they're from out of their captivity. And this is the reason why we have about 200 massive craters. They don't know exactly where it came from. I believe also that this could be the source of the deluge and the mud floods. So that's saying a lot, and we have to have separate shows on each and every one of these. But the thing is that once we really get into this, we begin to start understanding that the only way that we're going to be able to be free is for us to be able to walk away from the system and plug into the system that we're supposed to be in. So we are divine energy causing a change in the system, and all things in this paradigm, no matter where it is, how big it is going to be changed based on the divine energy that we're giving off.
This realm is only existing because of the gods. And once this is over and said and done with, everything is going back to the dark, whether you like it or not.
And so this is what we must begin to start understanding, that we are divine energy. And so this carbon-12, carbon-7 transformation, which has been going on for quite some time, is something that they can't stop, right? They can't get ahead of. What they're trying to do is bide more time by confusing the genetics, confusing the atmosphere, confusing what we have in our system so that we aren't able to connect to and energize the system for change. And that's basically what's going on. And it's very important to understand that, because you are connected into, and this kind of puts a reversal on that whole entire Revelations thing. And this is the reason why I say that the Bible is a watered down version of the truth, but it's a watered down version of the truth for those that were created by most likely the Anunnaki, right? And not divine beings that were created during the time of what they call chaos. We are chaos beings, not the divine Anunnaki beings, because the divine Anunnaki were gods of a created being, right? That were most likely created by one of the sources of Yaldabaoth, right? Yaldabaoth has a lot of demiurges. One of the demiurges probably created the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki created this other group of beings on this planet, and then this other group of beings began to start creating all these other beings like Yakub and all that other type stuff, and they came up with the last beings, which were what we now call the Tamahu. So we are the beings of chaos. We are chaos beings, and because we come from the time of chaos, we were the ones that were installed, souls that were created by another divine entity in the pleroma, which is directly connected to the all-encompassing creation source. And that's what that's all about. That is what that is all about. So I just want everybody to stay encouraged, no matter what you're doing. Stay encouraged. Allow not any of these low-dimensional entities, low-dimensional thinking, low-dimensional thoughts get inside of you, permeate within you. Make sure that you stay in a concentration of getting out of the system, planting your own food, planting your own fruit trees, planting more trees, more female trees everywhere. We have to bring the divine feminine back to the atmosphere upon which we live, so that that way the divine masculine is able to connect with it properly, and we can begin to be what we were meant to be, which is divine beings of chaos. This is Dark Matter Radio. For Live 365, Ronnie McQueen, A New Thunder. Live long and prosper. Mahalo, everyone.